Guys, I didn't say anything. Hey, Sam, this feels weird.
We live in an entertainment world where TV networks, movie studios, and streaming services are very much trying to go and reboot or sequelize just about everything you can think about. For real, from the sequel series to Cobra Kai and Saved by the Bell to reboots of things like Punky Brewster and so on. There's a lot of same flavor, new coat of paint things going on. But one that has honestly surprised people is the reboot/sequel to iCarly. How's that even gonna work? Well, allow us to show you 8 things you need to know about iCarly's return. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. 8. Paramount Plus. Let's start with easily one of the most curious elements about this, okay? The iCarly reboot is not going to be on the Nickelodeon like the original series. Instead, it has been picked up by the new streaming service, Paramount Plus. It is expected to be one of the first main shows for it, which puts a lot of pressure for the reboot to succeed. Overall, this is definitely an intelligent move by Paramount, as the reboot for a show that was so revered during its original run will surely bring in a lot of attention. It should do a good job keeping up with its competitors if the show provides amazing content. Furthermore, when they did CBS All Access, the precursor to Paramount Plus, they didn't go and paint it as a place that would be perfect for kids as well as adults, as the shows they were advertising were The Good Fight, Star Trek Discovery, Picard, and so on. But with this being a focus, along with bringing in SpongeBob and more, it's appealing to parents to try them out because there is kids programming. It may not seem like a big step, but it is. Or at least, that's what they think is going on. More on that later. 7. Key returning cast members. There's a lot to be excited about when it comes to who is going to be back in the reboot/sequel series, as it has been confirmed that Miranda Cosgrove, Nathan Kress, and Jerry Trainer are all going to be brought back for the reboot. This is spectacular news, as they definitely were among the most beloved characters from the original run. Bringing back Cosgrove definitely was the primary objective though, as she was the title character. As for Freddy and Spencer, having them there is essential as well, as they're both significant influences on Carly. So it goes to reason that Paramount Plus was trying to make sure the key pieces were there, if you will, as well as invoking nostalgia because of how well things went the first time around with the show on Nickelodeon. Plus, if they did a reboot of it with all new cast members, there would be no doubt lots of fans rioting about it. So, they did a good job by playing it safe. 6. Missing cast members? Although the show is getting back some big names, it's essential to note that there are also some big missing pieces from the ever-so-beloved gang. Jennette McCurdy and Noah Minuk, who played Sam and Gibby, have yet to commit to returning to the reboot. Fans certainly want them back, as they were among the favorites from the entire series. Sam's humor and toughness will be missed immensely if she does not return for sure. The same can be said about Gibby's weirdness and overall eccentric personality. Of course, this could mean that the people responsible for the reboot and sequel are going to fill in the void with new characters, which should be expected no matter what. But it'll be curious to see if they will return, or they just wanted to seal up the key players before making the announcement, and then bring in the others later. Only time will tell. Although it should be noted that while Jennette McCurdy and Noah Minuk have yet to commit to the reboot, their offers are still available. This makes a lot of sense, as it is clear that all viewers want them back, as they were significant parts of the original series. Ultimately though, it is entirely up to them. Sometimes people in the business like to take their talents down new avenues, and that must be respected. And there have been many child stars on Nick, Disney, and beyond who've all wanted to step away from the show that made them famous, else only be associated with it and thus be in a place where they can't grow as they're the typecast. 5. A show for adults? The biggest shock about the reboot is that in fact it is primarily aiming for an adult audience for reasons that honestly haven't been explained yet, at all. Therefore, the content of this series is going to be far more mature. It brings upon a lot of potential for deeper storylines, which should help give the show an abundance of attention. Even with the show taking on a more adult tone, it has been stated that the wackiness from the original series will still carry on. This is certainly needed, as this is the type of humor that allowed the show to be so iconic. This is definitely going to raise some questions, as it was very much a show for kids and young teens while on Nickelodeon, and yet here it's more adult-oriented? Granted, the cast are older now, so that may track a certain level, but how far are they willing to push things to meet their demographic? That remains to be seen. 4. New team behind the camera. This one arguably is one of the most important points if you know the history of Nickelodeon over the last several years. The reboot of iCarly will not be run by its original creator, Dan Schneider, as he is facing a number of allegations. Instead, the show will sport 2 new producers, Jay Kogan, and Ali Schutten. This definitely is the right move at the end of the day. The idea of new producers coming in for the reboot may be a bit scary to some, but it can end up working out nicely. Their idea of making the show more mature always seems like a fantastic idea, so perhaps they have an array of marvelous storylines to show the audience. For those who don't know, Schneider was the brain behind shows like The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, iCarly, Victorious, Zoe 101, and as noted, iCarly. He was very much the go-to guy for new shows when Nickelodeon needed them, which was fine, until many people came forward and called out his inappropriate behavior both behind the camera and what he would have certain stars do. This included videos taken by Schneider of him scaring Miranda Cosgrove whenever he could because he thought it was fun. He was released from Nickelodeon a few years back, and as such the company has been trying to move on from the shadow he cast. This reboot and getting new producers is very much a big step towards doing that. 3. When will the show arrive? This is a good question because it is unclear as whether the production has finally begun yet. There are rumors that the series will become available to the audience nearing the end of 2021 or the beginning of 2022. This is not a bad wait whatsoever, as the announcement of this reboot was so recent. As previously stated, a lot of series are not released so quickly, so there's a lot to be excited about. All the audience can do from here is hope that McCurdy and Manook opt into the show shortly. Either way, the reboot may be closer to your TV screens than it is farther away from them. 2. No official reboot plot. Although it has been made clear that the show wants to focus on adult topics, they've yet to have any official plot details. Therefore, there could be a lot left to the imagination of people interested in the show, which could ultimately be a good thing at the end of the day. It is quite clear that this will change though fairly soon, as the series will begin filming in the upcoming months. All fans are hoping for is that the reboot is able to replicate the odd humor while simultaneously creating deeper storylines. Again, they aren't the age they were in the original series, so the plot will likely revolve around Carly trying to restart her internet fame or something along those lines. But we honestly won't know until it happens. 1. Number of seasons. Finally, we have a question that also hasn't been answered yet. There is only one confirmed season order for the reboot and sequel series. Whether that grow as the production goes on or as Paramount sees the various episodes unfold is unclear. As this is a streaming service premiere, we might not get the answer in a good amount of time. Or it could be that they have such faith in it that they pull a Witcher or similar successful show and renew it before things even get started. There are many ways this thing can go, but clearly they feel this show is the right one to start off with. Else they wouldn't have brought it back in the first place. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the returning iCarly and how things are going to be different and yet mostly the same as it was when it was on Nickelodeon? Are you surprised that the series is coming back and coming to Paramount Plus of all things? Do you think this will start a reboot and sequel series spree of other kids shows to try and capitalize on a potential trend? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and we'll see you next time on the channel.